the Honourable Greg Hunt, MP, Minister for Health, Minister for Sport, Members of Parliament, Senators, Royal Lifesaving Board members, colleagues from Surf Lifesaving, Ausswim and the Australian Water Safety Council, welcome to the release of this year's Royal Lifesaving National Drowning Report. I'd like to start by acknowledging traditional owners, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. This is the 23rd iteration of the National Drowning Report. It's a report that analyses the unfortunate deaths of Australians that lose their life to drowning across the country in the nation's waterways, its rivers, lakes, dams, beaches, swimming pools. It's a report that we use to honour the memories of those people who lost their lives and also to pay our respects to their families. It's an important document that helps the Australian Water Safety Council and the water safety community to frame our actions over the coming summer, our public awareness campaigns, our advice to government, and importantly, our advice to the Australian community on how to stay safe. I would like to, with great pleasure, introduce the Minister, the Honourable Greg Hunt, MP, to say a few words.
Thanks very much to Justin, to you and Royal Lifesaving, and to all of your board members and executive members, to everybody associated with the Australian Water Safety Council, my colleagues Dan Tehan and Jane Prentice, and any other representatives from within the Parliament, and to everybody associated in water safety within Australia. I want to start by acknowledging the very tragic recent loss of Sean Oliver. This is a young dad, a young family man who waded into the waters to help save young children who were at risk in southern New South Wales. He was a dad himself, and he has made the ultimate sacrifice for water safety and to save other lives. It was an act of the greatest compassion that any Australian, any human can give. He put his own life at risk. He helped save other young family lives, and he paid the ultimate price. And so I just want to acknowledge to his family the immense loss, and from the Australian people, our immense respect and gratitude for what could not have been a more heroic action under more confronting circumstances. It's the most tragically timely reminder of why we are here to launch the Royal Lifesaving National Drowning Report for 2017. Now, Royal Lifesaving dates back 125 years. It has the most noble of origins and the most Australian of foci. It looks at the great Australian pastimes of the beach and of swimming, of keeping us safe, whether it's in our homes with pools, whether it's in our rivers or lakes in the inland waters, or whether it's the beach or the ocean. It's about training our lifesavers. It's about teaching water safety. It's about helping young children to swim. So, Justin, I want to acknowledge the century and a quarter of leadership and courage and volunteerism associated with Royal Lifesaving. It's our pleasure to assist and support you in your great work. I know my own family is members of Mount Martha Lifesaving Club, and it's been a way that our kids and so many other kids have learnt to swim, and then the kids grow up to patrol the beaches and to put out the flags, and this is the most Australian of pastimes, and it's probably, along with our CFA and equivalent volunteers around the country, the most Australian of forms of community service. So I want to acknowledge all of our lifesavers around the country. This report is, however, sobering reading. The Royal Lifesaving National Drowning Report for 2017 shows that the number of drowning deaths has gone up. It's gone up by 9 over the last year, from 282 lives lost to 291. One life is too many. Another 9 is unacceptable, and 291 is utterly tragic. We know that from the hard work that's gone into this report, approximately 100 people lose their lives in our inland waterways of rivers, streams, lakes and dams. Almost 100 lose their lives on our beaches or in our oceans. We know that roughly a quarter, lose their lives around swimming pools, and another smaller number lose their lives, often very young children, in relation to the bath and household water arrangements. So there are very powerful lessons in this. And what this says is, although we contribute funds, although the lifesavers do everything, we've seen an increase, not just over the last year, but over the last 3 years in drowning deaths. Therefore, we have to do more. That means a series of things. There has to be more education. There has to be better targeted education. That's about swimming. It's about where to swim. And it's about vigilance and taking care of others. Only 10 days ago, I was with Laurie Lawrence, and we launched the Five Alive campaign to focus on the under fives. And we had seen the rate drop from 63 to 21 lives lost per year over the last 2.5 decades. That was 40 lives saved, but as Laurie said, that was still a bus of young children, of toddlers who were lost each year. So the only possible goal has to be zero. Unfortunately, that number has increased this year. So on every front, we have to do more. I have looked at this report, Justin, and I've decided that I will ask the Australian Department and the Water Safety Council to review what we are doing as a nation in terms of water safety. I think the fact that we are down by 24% over the course of the last decade on our long-term per capita drownings is positive, but the fact that the real numbers are up is an unalloyed loss and negative. Therefore, I'm announcing that we will review our water safety actions with the Australian government, the states and the volunteer sector. It's simply something we have to do. Many times in this place it's too easy to look the other way or to gloss over something. There's no glossing over 291 deaths. This is down compared with what it could otherwise have been, but for the sterling work of Royal Lifesaving and our volunteers everywhere. But it's an unacceptably high rate, and so today I'm announcing that we will work with the Australian Water Safety Council and the government and the states and Royal Lifesaving on reviewing our national water safety strategy. I think very simply, we've done a lot, but we have to do better. With that, I am launching in the most serious of ways the Royal Lifesaving National Drowning Report for 2017. And Justin, I want to thank you and every volunteer within Royal Lifesaving for your extraordinary courage. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. On behalf of Royal Lifesaving and the other members of the Australian Water Safety Council, my colleagues at Surf Lifesaving and AusSwim, we thank you and the governments for its ongoing commitment to water safety in this country. Certainly your support, the support of the Australian Water Safety Strategy has been reassuring for us of our work and our continued focus on reducing drowning across the country, irrespective of the waterways that we're focused on. This year, as is in Royal Lifesaving tradition, we've created a video to help the community understand the National Drowning Report. This year's brief was to not just focus on the numbers, but also give Australians a bit of a sense and reassurance that we love the water as well, and we're encouraging everyone to get wet and enjoy our wonderful waterways, but to do so safely. This is a video last year that was shared in many of our life-saving classes. It was shared by members of Parliament in their local community, and it's a video that we think actually outlines and honours the unfortunate drownings of people in the last 12 months. So I'll press play on the video.
291 people tragically lost their lives to drowning in Australia last year. An estimated 685 people were hospitalised for non-fatal drowning. Royal Lifesaving have released the 2017 National Drowning Report, which revealed that of the 291 lives lost, 74% were men. Alcohol increases the risk of drowning. Look out for each other. Don't let your mates drink and drown. Inland waterways were the leading location for drowning deaths. Rivers, creeks and streams accounted for 23% of all drowning deaths last year. Always respect the river. Wear a life jacket. Avoid alcohol around water. Check for currents and snags. Learn life-saving skills and never go alone. Drowning deaths in public pools have decreased by 25% against the 10-year average. Royal Lifesaving is continually helping to strengthen the aquatic industry and encourage the use of local aquatic facilities for a fun and safe place to swim. The report revealed that people aged 25 to 34 years accounted for the highest number of drowning deaths last year. Swimming skills alone won't prevent drowning. It's important to follow water safety guidelines and learn life-saving skills. The number of drowning deaths of children aged 0 to 4 increased by 32% compared to the previous year. Backyard swimming pools were the leading locations for toddler drowning deaths, accounting for almost half of all deaths. Royal Lifesaving's Keep Watch program promotes 4 key actions to keep your child safe from drowning. These strategies should be used together for maximum safety. If one line of defence fails, there are other prevention measures actively working to keep your child safe. 70 people aged 65 years and over drowned in Australian waterways last year, an increase of 21% compared to the previous year. Older people are encouraged to test their skills and fitness in public swimming pools. The Grey Medallion or Adult Learn to Swim courses are great ways to revise important swimming skills and water safety knowledge. Australians love the water. It's part of our culture, but safety should always be a priority. Remember these important tips to stay safe around water. Please share this video to help keep your community safe.
Thank you. I would just like to make a few points in closing. The Minister mentioned non-fatal drowning. Drowning has 2 consequences, fatal and non-fatal. This is an area where our understanding was quite weak over the last 10 years. In the last 12 months, with our partners, Surf Lifesaving, we undertook some research that analysed the hospital data of people who drowned over the last 10 years. This enabled us to do a number of things. We've provided an estimate this year, and we estimate that about 685 people were hospitalised as a result of drowning, about 40% of those very young children. This matters in a policy sense. Many state governments and local governments are complacent in relation to swimming pool fencing legislation, and using this data and helping people to understand that many children survive in our community with the long-term consequences of drowning is a really important policy message to help focus local government and state governments on the one sure way we know how to reduce child drowning. We also facilitated a national drowning symposium that brought all of our colleagues together, and we've created a long-term action plan to address non-fatal drowning. The second point I would like to make is in relation to the Australian Water Safety Council. In 2008, some would say ambitious, certainly aspirational. We set a target for ourselves of reducing drowning by 50% by 2020. It's now 2 years out or 3 years out. And so in this report, we've looked closely at how we're tracking on a population basis. In 2008, we had no idea that the Australian population would grow by 25%, that international tourism would double, that international students would double, that the proportion of Australians that were born overseas would increase quite significantly. All of this has had an impact on our ability to reduce drowning to a scale that we would be happy with. But 24% is a reasonable achievement, and certainly in some age groups it's up around 46%. We're pleased with that success, but we're very worried about men, and also men in that baby boomers age group that are drowning in increasing numbers across the country. I'd also like to point out that last year's summer was tragic. Many Australians had their Christmas holiday interrupted by news reports of people drowning, mostly in and around Sydney. At one stage, it was 4 or 5 times the previous 10-year average. We've taken many lessons from that sequence. The New South Wales Government commissioned some research. We provided them a report, and that report is now informing many of their policy actions throughout summer. But it gave us an inkling of some of the longer term issues. Government's working pretty hard to increase green space in many of our communities, but we're also enjoying the downside of increasing density. Swimming pools in this country are in a lot of pressure. Councils are increasingly looking to close those facilities, and with more people living in our outer urban areas, it's vital that we protect these swimming pools as a source of recreation, but also as a source for Australians, all Australians, to learn swimming and life-saving. In the Parliament in February, largely as a result of the focus on drowning over summer, a number of members came together to debate the Australian Swimming and Water Safety Framework. This is something that we are very passionate about. All of our children and increasing adults need to learn about swimming and water safety. It can be done in a local pool, it can be done in a local river, it certainly can be done at the local beach. We convened a seminar, a symposium again of all of our colleagues, and once again we have an action plan that seeks to increase state government's role in providing swimming and water safety education through the school system and also through vacations. So Minister, we have a fairly significant plan. It was an ambitious goal, but we're actively working, looking at the future in more and more ways that we can have an impact on reducing drowning, whether that be in our rivers, our lakes and dams, our swimming pools, in young children, or increasingly in older Australians. So in closing, I call on all Australians, whether you like to swim at the beach, a swimming pool, local river, whether you holiday at home or enjoy some of our beautiful waterways, please always wear a life jacket, watch your children constantly around water, learn life-saving skills and keep watch. Thank you.